What's going on, guys? It's your man, Ed Hayes, the wholesale coach here, back for another episode of the Wholesaling Mastermind podcast, guys. And in this one, man, I'm telling y'all better put y'all seatbelts on, strap up, buckle in, get ready because my man's Tobias Ima is on the podcast today, man. Toby, how is it going, my brother? Hey, real quick, before I even like bring you all the way, I just gotta say, like, yo, I've been looking forward to this podcast literally since I very first talked to this dude. I really mean he probably don't even know that, but I've literally been looking forward to this since the first time that I've ever talked to this guy. He's a heavy hitter out in the Texas area, just literally destroying the market right. Not even just in Texas, y'all. Like he may be stepping on your toes if you listening to this podcast because he's virtual wholesaling as well, and he's out here getting a bag. He came onto the podcast. We on the podcast live today. So my man Toby can drop some game on the Wholesaling Mastermind podcast, one of the most anticipated podcasts ever, y'all. So I really want y'all to tune in. Make sure y'all listen to what this man has to say. Take notes. Bust out some pen and paper because we about to get it in. So Toby, how is it going, my brother?
What's good, man? I don't even know I don't know what to say after that, dude. Golly.
Hey, man, credit where credit is due, my brother. Credit where credit is due.
With me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Hey, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a...
So yeah, my brother, just introduce yourself to the audience, my brother, for those who may not know you.
Yeah, definitely, man. My name is Tobias Ima. Ima's short for something super long. I'm actually second generation Nigerian American, so last name's like extra long, but we'll just leave it at that. Some people call me Toby, whatever works well for you. I'm a Dallas native, Texas. That's my main market, and like my man Ed said, we've known each other for probably a year, a little longer.
Just about. I think it's like just coming up on a year, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah. So my wholesale journey began probably about a little over a year and a half ago. So I reached out to you probably towards the beginning of my journey, and I mean, like everybody else, I'm still on a journey. I'm trying to get to that Millie Club, so that's a different kind of journey right now.
You dig?
Yeah. Battling with that, but it's all good. I mean, I wouldn't be doing anything else. This is literally the greatest business ever, jumping into wholesaling and real estate in general. I mean, more doors have opened for me now than ever before in my whole entire life. So yeah, man, that's just a little backstory. Not too much. Giving you a little appetizer.
A little snack. You'll give us a little snack to start off with. So, man, so I know you're out there in the Texas area and whatnot. I like to use these sessions to try to provide as much value as possible to the community, right? Sure. So I know a lot of people out there, they're just getting started. They're trying to see what's going to be their role, their position, out here in the wholesaling game, how to get out here and get this bag. So I guess I want to start off by just asking, tell me a little bit more about the organization. What's your business look like right now?
Yeah, so right now, business is pretty wild. Like you said, I've jumped into several other virtual markets. My core business when I first got started was just, what was local, what I could basically drive to. I didn't have any money, so everything had to be accessible via car, So, and I kind of heard about all this virtual junk, but I was like, no, that's not for me. I'm a kitchen table closer. I got to be with them, to get that done. So, core business was just the Metroplex, and now it's expanded to several other markets. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm in Houston. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, of all random places. I'm sure there's probably a few others that I'm in. I'm not in front of my dialer right now, but there's a couple of the markets that I'm in. So just connected with some of the right people and just been, trying to spit out as many deals as possible.
Right. Okay. So I know one of the things, like when we first started talking, I remember like you was telling me kind of, kind of how you kind of set up your organization. I know that you were saying like, you're like the lead acquisition guy. You know what I'm saying? I know you're a very humble guy at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You're not very braggadocious. Like, yeah, y'all see me out here, I'm killing it. But at the same time, like I just want you to, if you can, like kind of go into like so you've got like your callers, right? You've got
Yeah.
cold callers, and then are there any other like pieces inside of the organization?
Yeah. So pretty much my whole organization is virtual outside of me. I still do a lot of the acquisitions, but I've got four callers, and then I've got a caller that kind of switches in between acquisitions as well. And I've got her trained to also close over the phone. So she does her best to try to lock them up, over the phone if she can. And, we're still working on that. There's still some little fine-tuned things that, we can do. But overall, I mean, she's tenacious. She's a beast. And, I mean, she's already locked up, probably 5 or 6, which doesn't sound like a lot, but she's getting there, and she's, like, hungry. So, I'm definitely been working with her to try to get her, to the next level, whatever that looks like. But yeah, so I handle mainly the bulk of the acquisitions. Before I was spreading myself thin, but I've kind of got a little more of a refined process to get me out in the field. I'm trying to close as many over the phone as possible. And, like I said before, I was a kitchen table closer. So the full get up, the full process, I got to go out there. I got to do this. But, just getting my mind open to the reality that you can pretty much close anything over the phone. I mean, you can sell somebody a pink elephant or, a Rolls Royce over the phone. And that's powerful. A lot of people are going to be like, no, you can't do that. But, when I first even got started in wholesaling, I was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do wholesaling. I mean, that joint sounds so illegal. Like,
I know, right?
no money down real estate. Like, what is that? I get that out of here.
Yeah, I
So
know, right?
anything is possible. It's definitely possible. And I think with this business, you got to be open and receptive to new ideas. Now, I'm not saying go out there and overwhelm yourself, because there's all sorts of different strategies, but just with the mental capacity of your brain, like open your brain to be receptive of like what this business has to offer. And don't confuse that with, find new strategies and find the next shiny thing. Just be receptive mentally, whatever that looks like for you, whatever mental blocks you have. Like for me, it was, I don't want to get on the phone and cold call. I mean, nobody likes to cold call, let's be honest.
Right.
But, that was a mental block, because I was automatically thinking for the sellers. I was thinking, these people don't want to hear from me. Like, they don't want to sell their house. Like, why would they? Like, I just pulled a random list, driving for dollars, and just because they had high grass, like, they want to sell their house. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. So that's what I mean. Like, just be receptive to that. I think I've talked to a lot of, like, new wholesalers, and ultimately when it comes down to it, it's just, like, that accountability and just, like, them being receptive of the business and, like, the truth behind the business. So
Yeah.
kind
I
of
like
on a
that.
little tangent there.
Hey,
From
no, that's cool. I like that. I
We'll get
like
ready
that,
for that.
though. I think that's a very introspective type of thing to think. Like
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
kind of know where you're going, be receptive to ideas, don't be closed-minded, because not, and at the same time, don't be inundated either. Like you don't want to be
Yeah,
super
exactly.
inundated. It's like, oh, what am I gonna do? And it's like
Yeah.
information overload. That's what happens to a lot of people that feel like they have what it takes, but they simply aren't taking action because they don't know what's gonna happen afterwards, and they feel nervous. And it's like, okay, I just won't do anything. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's really, really good advice, bro. For real, I think a lot of people need to hear that. For real.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
So you out there crushing it, and not only Texas, like the Texas market, crushing that, but you're also like you expanded out into other markets. I'm curious, like what made you expand out into other virtual markets?
Man, shout out to the Superhuman group on Facebook.
Hey,
That was
salute.
that was that was pretty much the reason. I know. And then I mean, also like little like kind of here and there, like stepping stones in your life, right? Like you kind of planted the bug in my ear when we started talking initially. You were like, hey man, not to say that your market will ever be dry, but think about the possibilities that you could have if you got in other markets. And I remember, man, I had so much resistance to that. I was always like, bro, there's no way. Like, how would you go virtual? What does that look like? Like, there's no way I could go virtual. Like, I am, like, the operation. Like, I got to be there in person. I got to show up to the door. I got to bring the donuts and the muffins and, like, I gotta go through the closing process. Now, you can't give somebody donuts over the phone, or through the internet. Like, how do you do that? What does that look like? So, just those little stepping stones, like you planted that bug in my ear. And then when I joined the Superhuman group, just finding out that there were so many other like-minded individuals that were, coming up in their markets or already crushing it in their markets. So, the light bulb kind of went off, and I was like, hey, like, there's this thing called squadding up, and these are people that are just as hungry as I am that have, like, tremendous whys. Like, I thought my why was tremendous. We'll get into that later, but I thought my why was tremendous. These people, like, make my why, like, man, like, these people are hungry. So I just connected with a bunch of them and just made the proposal, like, hey, can we squat up, and what does that look like? I've got a pretty solid marketing team. Let's go in together, and that's what I've been doing ever since. That's only just about 2 months ago, and I'm still just kind of, going into different markets. So
nice.
If you're in a market and you're crushing it, reach out to me.
Hey. Hey, y'all heard him loud and clear, man. He is not playing. This dude is the lead acquisition guru. Lead acquisition specialist guru over there. I'm telling you, man. Okay. So you linked up with the Superhuman Wholesalers movement. Shout out to Aaron Bevins, man. Aaron Bevins is the man. He came onto the podcast. If y'all listening and y'all haven't checked out that podcast with Aaron Bevins, make sure after you listen to this one that you check out that Aaron Bevins podcast as well. But so you say that, like, you pretty much, like, you started to expand. You like, okay, it's more opportunities out here. I'm in this Superhuman Wholesaler movement. It's other super hungry wholesalers up in here. Let me link up with them. What type of deals we can do.
Exactly. And that's what kind of led to the magic that's happening now, man. Like, my deal flow is, like, literally, like, 10x. Like, I have leads upon leads, like, thick.
Hey, look, I like the sounds of this, bro.
And I'm not one to flex. I'm just saying, like, anything I say, like I told you, before we even got on this meeting, I was like, there's really no agenda. Other than just to really, like, motivate somebody, I'm not trying to sell anything. I got nothing to offer. Like, I fly low. If you know me, I got, like, 92 friends on Facebook. Like, I'm not the kind of person that goes out. I'm just low key. I'm out here just trying to grind, for me and my own and those around me. But, just after, like, just really being exposed to other people that are hungry and have different whys, like, I just started to think, man, this is bigger than me. Like, maybe I can provide some value. I mean, I don't really think my story is that great, but that's just, who I am. But, maybe somebody listening right now can hear this and take something from it, and it motivates them to take action, or to define their why and start from there and take action. So, I mean, that's really why, I'm on here right now.
Hey, look, very humble man. Like I told you, very humble man. Like, he's not very braggadocious, but at the end of the day, I mean, man, it's like, look, what I've noticed is that a lot of times when people are genuinely winning out here and not, like, getting over on people in the process, it's almost inevitable that they're going to be very humble and not be trying to throw it in your face, because they know that they worked hard for it, and they know that you can do it too if you're willing to work hard for it. So the real ones tend to not be very braggadocious. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know that. Yeah. But man, though, okay. So, because I know that, like, when we first started chatting a while ago or whatever, like, I remember you used to tell me, like, look, man, I'm the acquisition dude, but, like, you really talked about how you really liked being very hands-on with the sellers and stuff like that. Like, you told situations where you would literally go feed people, and you were always, it was your standard to go the extra mile for people. Like, deep conversations about that, where you were willing to do whatever it takes, and it was maybe taking a little bit of time away from you at that moment to be, all over the place, trying to deal with all of the different sellers that you all had and whatnot. So So it's legit, man. You know, I tell people that all the time. Like, look, man, you got to go the extra mile. Like, don't just see people as a dollar sign and things of that nature. So I really do think that you're like a really good testament of that, my brother. I really can say that for real.
I appreciate that, man. I really
Yeah.
do appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the juicy stuff though now. So so I know that, you know, everybody has a journey. And before we start getting into like the bag and da da da, you know, like all of that good stuff or whatever, like I want people to realize, like, I got a quote up on my board. It says, don't focus on your goals, focus on your activities. So I feel
Boom.
like it's
Yeah.
more versus like, oh, well, you know, how many deals and da 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 da. I feel like it's more important, like the activities are more important. So, but anyway, um, what I want to ask you is like, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about like what you had to go through to get to where you
Yeah.
are right now? Like what did it take? What's the journey? What was the adversity on the way getting to where you are right now?
Yeah, definitely, man. So I'll just go ahead and dive deep and get a little vulnerable here. And like I told you before, like some of the stuff that I shared, like some of the people that are, you know, closest to me don't even know about, because I'm just a very in nature. I'm kind of growing out of that, but in nature, I'm just a, you know, private person. I just do my little thing. You know, I'm wholesaling, trying to grow the empire, trying to hit the Millie
Mm-hmm.
Club on my own and all that. So you know, I'm just private by nature. But you know, like I said, you know, just a few seconds ago, I'll share this because I really do hope, like I really, really hope that it resonates with somebody out there that's, you know, struggling in whatever situation or is doubting themselves or whatever, or anything like that. You know, like if I can do it, you can do it. You know, I'm like Tom Kroll. I'm not the smartest guy, you know, out there, but you know, I've got drive, I got determination, and my why is bigger than anything. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go get it. But just to kind of get into it, you know, I got into wholesaling because of failed business venture. I left. My mom passed away while I was in college, and so I left school naturally to go home. Got home and was pretty much hit with the facts that my dad also had stage 4 cancer. So, you know, I don't say that to get into any pity party or anything, but just to kind of give a little backstory. So all that kind of hit me, and you know, your past is what, you know, determines your future. So that's why I'm getting into that, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. But anyway, so my mom had just passed away. My dad has stage 4 cancer. He's got like 6 weeks left to live, literally. He's handing us his will. We're reading it. And it's kind of like in that moment, I was like, you know what? Like, what really matters to me? You know, like, what is my why? Like, why am I here? You know, and I started, you know, as a young kid, I was like, you know, do I really want to be in school? Is that for me? And, you know, I just want to go out there and get it, you know, start establishing my legacy. You know, what am I going to leave behind? You know, what's my impact on the world and all that kind of stuff. So ended up dropping out of school. Best at the time, worst decision I ever made, but looking back, the best decision I ever made. Dropped out of school, was flipping anything. It didn't matter, man. I was flipping anything from laptops to jewelry to clothes to, and then I finally got into bigger ticket items, which were cars. So started flipping those on the side. That slowly kind of grew into a little business and ended up, you know, opening up a car dealership here in my local market, and just kind of going back to my personality of always wanting to be the best. You know, I wanted to be the best, of course. I wanted to sell the most cars out of anybody, anywhere in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
in the you know, the world for that matter. Like I always want to be the best at anything, and I'm competitive by nature, mainly with myself. So, but you know, so I wanted to keep pushing myself, and with that, you know, I made a bunch of bad decisions, over leveraged myself, and ultimately ended up filing bankruptcy. And I mean, that was, I mean, coming out of, you know, my mom and my dad and all of that, and then leaving school at the time, which, you know, at the time I didn't really think it was the best decision and everything, and I was regretting it, and people around me were telling me that I was an idiot, you know, and here I am flipping cars and turning it into a little
Right.
hustle. And you know, it's not exactly like the most prestigious business to be selling cars, right? So, you know, here I am, you know, just basically looking like a complete buffoon to those around me. And then, you know, the worst happened, right? Like everything that everybody said would happen happened. You know, I had to file for bankruptcy, and then ultimately it trickled into personally. So I had to dual. I had to file for my business and for personal. And that was honestly, probably one of the lowest moments, just feeling so defeated, man. I would tell my wife all the time, man, I just want to leave. Like, let's go to Africa or something. I want to go as far away from this as possible and just run away from all of my mistakes and all of the things that, I had done, and to put myself in that position. And, like I tell everybody that I tell the story, I take full ownership for that. I say that like I've told everybody. I've probably only told like 4 people. But the people that I have told, like, I take full ownership for it. Like, I made the mistakes. I screwed up. I drove myself into that situation. Like, I'm never going to, put it on somebody else. But for those of you that don't know what happens in bankruptcy, everything's done through a court. I mean, you can do it yourself, but in my case, I mean, there was like hundreds of thousands of dollars, not to, downplay it. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars that were involved in this bankruptcy. So I had to get some attorneys involved, and there's a person called a trustee that's appointed, and they basically dive through your finances. You give them access to your bank account. They literally take your logins, and they go through all your finances. If you have anything of worth, they want it. I mean, you have to list pretty much everything down to like the carpet. They want it. If it's valuable, they want it, and they're going to try to take it to pay your creditors. And so, after going through that, I mean, I was basically stripped of everything. I had, no understanding of what I was going to do. All I'd ever known my whole life was just to flip, and for that instance, all I knew was how to, sell cars, and I was just pitying myself, and I didn't know what to do. A lot of people start off with, nothing. I was in like negative nothing. So
right. You think you're zero bad. Try negative 20,000.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Damn.
So, it was crazy, man. Like, just thinking about it right now, it makes me, teary-eyed. But, it's good to relive that, because that's what strengthens your why, right? But it was nuts, and I just kind of started, researching. I was like, man, what can I do to bounce back? I can't stay in this pity party. I remember, like, I was literally just in my closet because I didn't want my wife or my son to see me, and I was just crying, man. I was just like, God, like, where do I need to be? Like, I'm so sorry that I've, mismanaged all these funds, and I've, hurt these many people in business and all of that. What can I do? What can I use my gifts for, naturally to, excel at and, give back with, not just, looking for finances, but how can I give back, And I just started watching a bunch of videos, came across Shopify and all that other stuff, and I was like, no, I can't, I'm not going to get into that. I came across Forex trading, and I was like, no, that requires money. I don't have any money. And then stumbled across wholesaling, and I was like, man, okay, what's this about? Started watching a bunch of videos, and, like most of the people that are listening, I was like, no, this is fake, man. These people ain't out here getting these checks. Right. Like, what is this? You can't assign a contract. Like, I can't, like, leverage having nothing. Like, what is driving for dollars, So I was like, man, that's not going to happen. And then literally, like, a few days later, I see, like, one of my friends post something, and I'm never on social media, but at this point, I'm just desperate for new opportunities. So I'm just kind of looking, what are people doing? I don't have a LinkedIn or nothing. So I'm like, man, what are people doing to get paid? And most people, put their titles. And I saw that one of my friends was a real estate investor. And I was like, oh, wow. So I was like, okay, well, he's doing it. And I saw him post a couple things about wholesale. And I was like, oh, wow, this is if that ain't a sign. So I started diving deep. And I was like, bump, 60 days, 30 days. I was like, I need to check now. So I literally hopped in the car and started driving for dollars that very day that I saw that post. And, the rest is history. I've just been grinding ever since. My journey hasn't ended and will never end. I'm always striving to be better and to grow this thing as far as it can go. Man, that's diving
hey, that's
deep,
bro. Hey, man, I think that's an amazing story, though, bro. I really, really, really appreciate you sharing that with the audience, because bro, like, that's a lot of people's story, like the
Yeah, yeah,
bankruptcy and the adversity and like the what am I gonna do, and like really kind of having to do that introspection and saying like, I gotta figure something out. I gotta like play to my strengths. I gotta do some research. Let me see what other people are doing. Like, man, bro, that's powerful, man. Because I think a lot of
yeah,
people that's listening to this podcast are probably literally on that same journey themselves right now.
yeah,
Like right there
yeah,
at one of the parts in your story, they're there right now, and just hearing you talk about how you overcame can be the whole
yeah.
reason why they keep going, bro. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that for real, man. For real.
Yeah,
That's
man, it comes down to excuses or results. That's what my friend Sam says. Excuses or results. I mean, how many? This is gonna sound harsh, but hopefully it resonates with somebody. I mean, Aaron said this the other day. Like, how many aunties do you have that are gonna die? How many times are you gonna have a stomach ache? Like how many times are you gonna have to work that extra hour at work? Like again, like those are legitimate excuses. Like sometimes my stomach hurts, and
mm-hmm.
but like if you're always gonna have stomach aches, then start calling on the toilet. Like do whatever you got to do
Right.
to. It's excuses or results at the end of the day, and that's what I found out the hard way. Because I was in there having my little pity party, but when I picked myself up and I was like, no, I caused this situation. I got to have self-awareness. How can I get out of the mud and start, living life the way that I've always envisioned myself to be? And it's still rocky. I mean, life is always going to be rocky, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're persistent, you put the work in, the results will come. I know that sounds cliche, and somebody's hearing this and they're like, no, it's not. Wholesaling's hard. It's blah blah blah. I'm like, man, just dial. Put the calls in, put the text in, put the emails in, do the bandit signs, be consistent and be relentless. Like,
Yes.
don't let up ever. You will get deals. Like it's proven. It's science, right? It's like if you put gas in the car should go and run. Like
Right.
gas it up. Like
Right.
stop, sitting there. After you watch this video, don't go on to a video about like I don't know how to build a Lego Wendy's. I don't know. Like don't
Right.
do that. Like take action. Get off this
Yep.
video and go drive. Get off this
Yes.
video and go call. Get off this video and start setting up, your business plan. Start thinking, like really contemplate about yourself, your weaknesses, your flaws, your strengths, and your why. Like what is your why? Like I talk to a lot of people and they're like, man, I want to get into wholesaling. I'm trying to get financial freedom. And I'm like, man, like I can't help you. Like I can't give you advice because it's not going to really resonate. Like if you want to do this business and be successful, you got to have a why stronger than just financial freedom.
Facts.
Like it's got to be big, because
It's
if you don't,
facts.
like you're going to run out of gas really soon, and you're going to be like, this isn't for me. It doesn't work. Like they're out there getting their checks, but that's not for me.
Yep.
So if you got to have a really, really, really you got to really hone in on that why, and that has to propel you. And sometimes whys change, right? Like you can have another kid, and now it's like, or
Mm-hmm.
you can have your first kid, and it's like, oh wow, like now I want to be, the most available, best, awesome dad there is. I want to be, the best husband, whatever. Like your whys can change, but
Mm-hmm.
you have your core why, and you just run with that and let that be your gas, because that's never ending gas. Like if you say, I want to be wealthy, well, what happens when you get the six figures club? Like
Right.
complacent, right? Your gas is ran out, like it
Right.
can't just always be money. It's got to be something that's going to always be there to sustain you.
Man,
So,
that's so powerful, bro, because I say that to people all the time, like if when I'm bringing people on, like for the coaching program and whatnot, I always ask them like, man, what's the long-term play with this thing?
yeah,
And it's like I'm always very intensely listening, because I feel like the
yeah,
the strength of that vision is what
yeah,
actually gets people there. So people like when I ask them that
exactly.
question and they start to get passionate and stuff, they like, man, well, da 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 da, and they really, I'm
Oh,
like,
dude.
okay, oh yeah, you gonna
Yeah,
win, as I can feel
yeah,
it,
exactly,
Whereas other
exactly.
people that's just like, oh well, I want to turn this into something where I can make a lot of money, da da da. It's just
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
about
Taking
money.
it away from the 9 to 5 and all that, it's like,
Right. It's
well,
like, yeah, that's cool and all, but
that's
it's
good. Yeah,
probably
that's a
not gonna
segment.
generate enough energy to
Yes,
actually make you be successful at it. Like it's got to be bigger than you.
exactly,
It's got to be bigger
exactly.
than just
That's
money.
yeah.
The bigger
You
your
you just
dream, the
nailed it.
better.
you just know that with that energy, man. I tell my wife, I'm like, man, like, because as I've started to open up myself, like I've had a lot of people start reaching out to me, and that's one of the common things that I see is people just don't have energy, man. It's like, man, like I can give you everything that's, up here, but you got to turn that into action. You got to find that energy, and that's where your why comes from. Because for me,
Yes.
that energy came from being negative, thousands of dollars, and having, looking at my son and saying, to myself, like, what kind of man am I going to be for him? Looking at my wife and thinking, like, I don't, like, my wife will love me if I had nothing or if I had a lot of something, like, regardless. But, for me, I was like, she didn't sign up for this, and I didn't, I don't want her to be a part of my, calamity, like, and, just look at what I was going to do for other people and things like that. Like looking back, like, this is, like, all going to be part of the journey. But in the moment, I was like, no, like, this is my why needs to be, like, tremendous. Like, I have to go get it. Like, I can't do anything else. So when I talk to people that are just like, I want to get out of my 9 to 5, like, that's great. Like, fire your boss all day long. Like, I'm a huge advocate for that because there's so much money in this business, but it's got to be bigger than that because you will not have the energy. I'm going to talk to you 3 weeks later. You're going to be like, things are kind of, they are what they are at work right now, and I'm working more hours and they got me this. But, somebody that I talked to that's got energy is like, man, I just got off of work. I'm like, bro, like, what time is it over in your time zone? Man, it's 8 o'clock. I'm about to go driving. Like, dude, you can't even see the properties. Like,
That's the type of hunger. That's the type of hunger you gotta have.
That's the hunger, yeah. Like, they're making cold calls at 9 p.m. Like, and like they.
Hey, man,
we
honestly,
shut the down at 5. They're calling it.
Man, I think that makes a big difference, though. It's like how hard you're willing to go for it. I feel like that passion, like the willpower to keep going, even though it sucks. Like, you're not always gonna want to do it. It's not always gonna be peaches and cream. It's not always gonna be like everything is working out nicely. No, hell no. In fact, like, more often than not, it's chaos.
Now, man.
You know what I'm saying? I know, right?
Stop asking what list to call. Call a list. Stop asking what to say. Just say something.
Right, and call every person. Stop skipping and choosing between leads and stuff. Like, literally call the whole list. Stop being scared.
Call the whole list. Yeah, like, do it. Just do it. I'm telling you, you will get results. Just do it. There are, like Kobe Bryant said in the 2012 Olympics, he was in his, I think, early 30s. He's one of the oldest cats on the team. And, they're interviewing him. They're like, man, like, you're an old G right here. Like, what are you going to do with all these little young bucks with all this energy and everything and yada, yada, yada? How do you feel? And Kobe was just like, Kobe's a Mamba. So he was just like, look, I may not know everything, but I know more than them. Like, again, like, we may not know everything, but we know, like, we've been through deals. We know what it takes to get a deal. And we're telling you, like, literally call the list, do the work, go driving for dollars. I had a buddy that I told to go driving for dollars, and he came back, 2 days later, and he's like, man, it doesn't work. So I went driving with him, and I told him, like, hey, we'll make some lists. We'll go drive your area. We'll go drive mine. On that very list that I made, I got a 10,000 deal from that list. He never called back anybody from his list, and like, I tell that story because it's like, I told him what to do. The recipe is already there. Like, all you got to do is go in the kitchen and put the work in. That's it. Put 2 and 2 together. 2 plus 2 always equals 4 in this business. But here's the catch though. It may not equal 4 immediately. And when you tell people that, they're like, well, how many calls will it take to get a deal? I don't know. It could take you 5 or it could take you 1,000. But just start doing it, and you'll find out. Like, do the work.
Right. The repetitions, bro. Putting in the work. The repetitions. The repetition is the father of learning. The more that we put in the work, we get at it. Whether it's walking, talking, reading, literally every single thing that we've ever done in our lives was hard when we first started doing it. So, in other words, hard only means new. So all that means is that just put in the work. Just keep doing repetitions over and over and over, and literally everything in life can be extremely easy. So y'all may see people like me, Toby, Aaron, all types of other people that quote unquote make it look easy. But that's only because we've been willing to put in the reps over time. We sucked at it. All of us do. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
We weren't scared to put ourselves out there. We were willing to fail enough until we could actually succeed. Most people, they dread failure like more than they would dread corona or the plague or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to fail more than they want to. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want to win more than I care about failing at something. And I know that failure is an integral part of success. We can't get to success without struggle. Like it does not work. Like if you're not willing to put in that adversity, don't even get into this business, period. It's not for you.
Boom.
If you want everything to be peaches and cream, go sit in the corner somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, go get on Section 8 and let the government take care of you. This economy, our society is set up for you to be able to do that. If that's what you want, a safe life, go ahead, go sit in the corner and you can have the safest life that you want. People will take care of you and everything. But if you want a life of adventure, if you want a journey to live, if you want like a legacy to leave, you're going to have to work for it, period. And if you're not willing to work for it, you just don't deserve it, period. It's just as simple as that. I'm like, oh man, like it gets me going, bro. You know, I'm getting in the zone over here, but for real, man, stuff is serious, bro. So
it really is, man.
Look, so real quick, bro. Like I wanna kind of dive into like the business, like what it looks like right now for you. So I know you got the cold callings and whatnot. You went through a lot of adversity to get to where you are right now. We know that you're crushing the Texas market as well as other markets throughout the nation and whatnot. So I'm just curious, like, what does the deal flow look like or whatever? Like, what are y'all typically doing on a monthly and what does it look like?
So right now, man, he put me on the spot.
It's all good though. No pressure. You know what I'm saying? Answer what you feel comfortable with.
So just being honest, so right now, man, I'm hitting anywhere from about 30 to 40K every month. Definitely, I say that like, you know, I'm sure, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of money, but it's nowhere near where I want to be. Like my goal for next year at least was to get to the Millie Club. So, you know, I say that like,
and you crushing it though, bro. You crushing it. Like you said, you know, just 30, 40K. Like, you know, like that's a small amount. People listening like, what the hell did he just say? They reminded him. Did he just say 30 or 3? Because he sounded like he said 3. No, that's what's up though, bro. 30, 40 a month. You out here killing it, bro, honestly.
Yeah, but man, I mean, I've been surrounding myself with a lot of like killers, man, and they're doing like hundreds, you know. So, you know, naturally seeing that, it's like, okay, I've put these like blockades, you know, like I had a flip last month, and we did with the flip and a few other wholesale deals, I pulled in right around like 71 or something like that. But I don't really count it because the flips are kind of, you know, they've been a little staggered. I started getting into flipping as well. So those have been a little, and I've got a couple creative finance deals as well. But those have been, I didn't want to get into all that because, you know, people stay on the vision, wholesaling. Yeah. Like that's the meat and potatoes. That's what gets you into all that. But, you know, we'll save that for another podcast, creative financing and flipping and all that. But anyway, so that's the most I've made like in a month, but on average, you know, I'm like, I can't break like 40. I think I got like to like barely over 40 and some change, but so I'm trying to get my mind out of that mental cap to get through that. So like, I mean, I'm struggling, you know, as like Aaron was saying the other day, it's like I was in, you know, he was in elementary school, and then he hopped into middle school, and then you go into high school. Like right now, I'm still kind of in the middle school age, you know, so I'm still trying to figure out how to get out of there and get my butt into the pros, right? So I'm conditioning myself right now. I started really getting back in. I've read Traction a few times, but the book Traction, but I'm rereading it. I'm studying it again. I'm trying to really hone in on the systems and the processes in the business so that I can refine some things and start getting to that, you know, next level and trying to break those barriers. I think next month we'll probably do that just because I'm leveraging, you know, my time and other people's time and partnering up, squadding up with a bunch of people from the Superhuman Wholesale group and things like that. So I'm pretty optimistic that that will happen. No. I'm gonna speak it.
Hey, you
Just in
got
case you
this.
follow up to it, it's gonna happen next month. It will
Facts.
happen next month. So
Big
I'm gonna speak
facts.
it. I'm gonna stop being so modest. It'll happen next month.
Hey, you
So
got it, bro. You got it. I mean, but to be
yeah,
honest though, you know what you're doing already is quite tremendous compared to obviously like 95% or more of the wholesaling
yeah.
community. You're crushing it, bro, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? You already know. You know you are. But I
It
think that
don't man.
like
I stay broke. That's always my mentality, man.
I feel you know, I think the
Like
same exact thing. I swear to God.
it doesn't matter, like we go out, my wife's like, can we go to Starbucks? Like, oh
Oh, a
man.
whole $7 on that venti
Yeah,
latte?
what?
I don't know. I swear I'm the same way, bro. I swear.
No, but
For real.
man, we still enjoy ourselves and all that. But
Yeah.
I just stay broke. It's just that, like, I don't know. It's just probably
I think that this
somebody's
is
gonna
that's the
roast
thing.
me down there in the comments.
Nah. Hey, bro, but honestly, I think with that, I think a part of that too, though, just like on some advice type tip, I think that right there, like the spending of the money aspect or whatever, that could kind
Yeah,
of be like the bottleneck that's stopping you mentally from getting to those 100K months. You know, it's
bro.
like because at the end of the day, we should be a distribution center for money and wealth and stuff like that. And I've
Yeah,
realized the months that I spend the most money inevitably are always the months that I make the most money. It's kind of weird, but it's like when I
wow, that's
start to
deep.
become a distribution center, it changes everything for real.
That's deep.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
deep.
So that's just like a little side note, a little tidbit. But man, though, so like right now, you know, you're crushing it out there. But so I'm curious, like, because I think a lot of people are probably interested as well, like to be able to pull those numbers that you're doing right now, like how many hours per month is that costing you, or per week, or whatever?
So this is the part that most people don't like to hear. Like even right now, like I've got my other phone that I'm just like
Right, right.
looking at. Like just making sure I stay on top of leads and things like that. But man, I don't even know. I'm always working, man. Like again, like I love my wife. She's the biggest support, and I try to spend as much time as I can with my kids. But there is a sacrifice. Like I'm always working and grinding, and I'm growing something. I mean, we still get to enjoy each other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Sundays I don't. I mean, unless it's like, hey, I got a deal at 30K and the ARVs, 250. Sundays I'm, chilling with the family. We're
Same
going
here,
to
bro.
church and
Mm-hmm.
doing that kind of stuff. But you catch me any other day of the week, like I'm grinding. I'm gonna put in as many hours as it takes, to meet or exceed whatever goal I set for that week. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Like still grinding, and
Yeah.
that's the beginning phases because you can still like if you're familiar with the four quadrants and Robert Kiyosaki, like right now I am an entrepreneur, but my goal, just being real, is to become a business owner.
Yep.
To where I only run systems and processes, and the further I get away from the business, the more money I can still make. So I'm still striving for that. But right now it's front loaded. I've got to really develop some things. I got to start, implementing those and making sure that I'm adhering to my company culture and values and things like that, and growing things,
Mm-hmm.
as an entrepreneur to get it ready for that. So my goal is to start taking that leap, which is scary for a lot of people, because I'm a type A, I do it myself, callers
Mm-hmm.
are on there saying, hi, my name is, I'm like, bro, like, don't even say it, like, not like that micromanage, but you know what I mean? Like, I'll
Mm-hmm.
do it myself. I'm that type, like, someone cutting the grass and it ain't straight, like, I'll go cut the grass. Like, you go over there, go
Right.
drink the iced tea, let me do it, like, so I'm like that kind of personality. So it's hard, even, it's hard for me to say that. I know we've had this conversation before, like, hey, I'm gonna let go and let somebody else do it. Like
Yeah.
you even talked about, you were the one that coached me into getting some more VAs, and that was hard. I was like, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
spend any more money. I want to be able to hit. I want to get to the Millie Club with just one VA. Like I'm not trying to get four or five. Like no, like
Hey,
I'm
you
gonna
see
work.
things turning up though. You see it turning up, bro.
But yeah, I mean, so I definitely struggle with that. But yeah, so that's the goal, is to just be a
Right.
business owner. And then I really really enjoy flipping houses It's a lot of
That's
fun. So
nice.
like I don't mind doing that, and kind of like being the GC for the project. It's fun when you make money. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I don't mind being the GC for the projects and things like that. Oh,
Uh-oh. Oh,
sorry, I
okay.
had a small comment. I don't mind being the GC for stuff like that. So I'd like to be freed up for that, and who knows, maybe get into some multifamily. I don't know, but right now the goal is to just build a true business. I see a lot of people that when you get started, don't, obviously read the book Traction, know that, but, main focus, if you need to generate revenue, like go wholesale, go get money, like all the other
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you can get. Like for me, like I wasn't trying to read no Traction when I first started. It was, I need to go make some money. Like I have no money,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have time to read. I barely had time to take a poop. Like I need to go.
I
There's
feel
no
you
time
though.
for nothing.
Right? We gotta get to the bag, B. For
That's
real.
what I'm saying.
Starting off at negative 10, 20, 30, 40,000, it's a whole nother story. That's it.
Exactly.
People complaining about zero. Just think about being in the negative when you're getting started.
Yeah, yeah.
Situation, man, for real. It's a whole nother level of grind that you even gotta go through to get there. For real.
Exactly.
So, but man, though, honestly, I think that's a very important thing to kind of bring up is that how much work it can take and just being
Yeah,
realistic. Because to be
yeah,
100% honest with you, I work hard as hell too. Like I'm the same exact
yeah.
way. I'm always working, bro. Like I don't. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm keeping 1,000,000% honest on this podcast. Sometimes it's hard for me to just sit back and just relax because I be feeling
Yeah,
like I'm missing out on something. Like I'm
yeah,
chasing legacy. I'm chasing
yeah,
my dreams and my destiny out here. So,
yeah,
it feels like I don't want to just relax like everybody else. Obviously I
yeah.
do that. I want to spend time with my fam and whatnot. You know
Of
what I'm
course.
saying? But it's like, and my wife, like, she's the most, understanding person out there as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I couldn't have done it without her. Let's just put it like that, without her
yeah,
giving me that kind of permission to make it happen
yeah,
for us. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
You know
yeah,
exactly what
yeah.
I'm
I know. Yeah, yeah,
so it's like, man, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And it does take that sacrifice. You have to work for it. It's not always going to be easy. Things that you're doing right now, you're going to have to give up. Like you're going to have to
yeah.
stop doing things that make you feel comfortable and start purposely doing the things that make you feel uncomfortable. Because that's the
Boom,
way to
boom.
level up in life. We have to face those
Exactly.
bosses. If we can't beat the
Yep.
boss, we can't go to the next level. Life is just a video game. I'm telling you, man. I'm
Yeah.
right. It's gonna be coming out. I'm telling you, man. The cheat codes to life, man. Patent pending. The patent pending. Don't steal my book title. But for real though, man, like I think that's super, super important. We have to beat our bosses. We have to keep grinding out here.
Yeah.
It's gonna take
Yeah.
those 12 to 16-hour days, 7 days a
Yeah.
week type stuff. Sometimes it
Yeah.
may take that. Like, but like you said, it's very front loaded. So it's like we put
Yeah.
a lot of that work in on the front end, but on the back end, now we can get that passive coming in. Now, we
Yeah.
use wholesaling as the ATM. Now we can start to get that rental income coming in because we put in
Sure.
that things like that. It just makes a big difference, man.
Exactly.
I want
Exactly.
people to understand that. So I really appreciate you even sharing that as well. And I think that's very, very valuable. A lot of people don't realize it takes work, B. Like you gonna have to work.
Serious work. Serious.
For real. People ask me all the time, like, Ed, how many hours should I put into my businesses? And I say the maximum that you could possibly do every day. Like if you giving another man 8 hours a day, you damn sure better be putting in some work for you.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, don't complain about what's going on in your life. If you willing to work for another man for like $8, $10, $12, $15 an hour, but you won't go out there and get a bag for your family, then
That's
don't
what I'm
complain
saying,
about
man.
how life is. Like for real.
Exactly.
Man, so it's like sometimes you got to be blunt out here, man. Sometimes you just got to
Yeah,
keep it
yeah,
100%
And
real
we're
with
not
people.
saying this to be offensive. Like, the
Right.
only goal is to motivate. Ed, he's not going to drop a link to my course or something down below. Like, I've
Right.
got you got a fantastic course and everything, and I've
Appreciate
actually been through it. So, like, definitely an advocate for that. But this is, like, real. Like, you can go through the course and still not get anything from
That's
it
a
if you're not
fact.
mentally ready for that. Like,
That's
you
a
have
fact.
to put the work in. You have to put the work in.
Yeah. So, man, bro, hey, you a testament, though, my brother. You a testament of what happens when you put in that work. If y'all can look up and y'all can make that decision, make that commitment to, stand up for your dreams, stand up for what it is that you're really grinding for out here, stand up for your family. You get what I'm saying? Stand up for your legacy. And you can be in a position like Toby where you out here getting 30, 40 bands a month, putting in work, got a team operating, hitting multiple states throughout America and things of that nature, and still trying to level up. Never get complacent, no matter where you are. As soon as you start getting complacent, then it's like you start backsliding. You just stay wherever you are forever. And life is all about progress. Progress equals happiness. That's how I like to say it. Progress equals happiness. Knowing that you're moving towards those dreams is going to keep you going. That's going to help you achieve that, get you that willpower to keep going when the times get hard. But you got to be willing to put in that work, just like me and Toby said. But look, if you are willing to put in that work, you can be having 30, 40, 70, 80, 100K months we're talking about college graduate salary. We're talking about PhD. Like, I'm going to earn this my whole year. You earn that in a month or two. It's game changing out here, y'all. So it's like, we need y'all to man, put in that work, y'all. Like, if y'all need inspiration, motivation, that's what these podcasts are for, is to really kind of give you the nuts and bolts of it, but also that mentality behind it as well. Because you can't get there if you don't have the right mindset, if you're not willing to put in that work, if you're not willing to face adversity. Like, go straight towards that adversity. Whatever you think is like, oh, God, I really don't want to do that. That's what you need to do. That's the boss.
Exactly.
That's the boss that you need to be.
Yep,
for a lot of people, it is, bro. Most people are scared of making that phone call, man. But it's like, look, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to dive in.
Exactly.
So, man, bro. So before we wrap this up, man, because I know I think we had like an hour now or something like that. I don't want to make it too long, but I do. Yeah, I know, right? Time just flies, right?
Yeah.
But we coming up on it. I think we were chatting a little bit before we actually started it up. But I got like a couple more questions for you, bro. And this is one particular question that I literally ask everybody that comes onto the podcast, and I really, really, really want to get your perspective and answer on this question. Sure. And that question is pretty much like, if there was one piece of advice that you can give to someone that's just getting started out here in the game, that's they really, really want to start cashing out, start getting the bag. I know we've kind of talked about some things over this session and whatnot, but if it was just one piece of advice that you can give to a brand new real estate professional and trying to get started out here that wants to get some wholesale deals, what would that advice be?
Be relentless in everything. Just be relentless. Don't let up on anything. If you set a goal to drive for dollars and get 20 addresses, get 60. If you set a goal to call 30 people, call 70. I don't know. Like, just be relentless in everything. Just really, really, really hone in on your why. Why are you doing this? Mm-hmm. And like we said earlier, if it's not big enough, then do some soul searching, get some self-awareness, and be relentless. That's pretty much what I would say. I mean, the knowledge is out there. I mean, they could literally sign up for your course today and, like, boom, level up right there. But what are you going to do with all that, like, great gems, all that knowledge? Like, you've taken the time to develop this, like, super awesome course, but that came from you being relentless in your business and in your personal life, et cetera, and going through all these experiences, and then compounding all of that into, like, one convenient course and avenue for somebody to, basically soak in, right? So just be relentless and, use the resources around you, plug in, and, just implement. Just be savage.
I love it, bro. I think that's amazing advice, honestly, especially like coming from this session in particular or whatever, and the things that we kind of chat about, like, be relentless. I love it, bro, for real. I think that's amazing advice right there. You got to go hard, for real. I think that's kind of like the theme of this conversation. Be relentless. For real. I like that. So, man, bro, so are there any other things that you kind of want to let the audience know, and like things like that or whatever? Anything that you feel like we didn't touch base on yet?
Man, we hit a lot of stuff, so hopefully somebody got something out of this. And like we said, I'm not saying any of this stuff to pick on anybody or anything like that, or label, how wholesalers act or how, people trying to get into business act. It's just we've seen a lot. I haven't been doing this for too long, but in the amount of time that I've done it, I've come across a lot of different people, a lot of different situations, and that's just what I've noticed that kind of keeps people from succeeding. And there's enough abundance out here in food for everybody to eat. So we're just trying to just get you that little bit of tidbit of what we've seen, and hopefully that just motivates you as an individual or whoever, as a team, family team, to just come up and see that this is legit. This can legitimately change the trajectory of your entire life and your family's life, and so on and so forth. This is huge.
Man, it so is, bro. For real, man. For real. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing everything that you shared in this session, bro. Man, honestly, I think that this is one of those golden ones right there. I really, really hope that people have gained a lot from it, which I'm sure that they have. It's literally undoubtedly, man, because I feel like when people can see themselves in others, like based off their experiences and stuff like that, it hits harder, So
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on, bro. Like, I feel like your story is so many of our stories, like the adversity on the way there, but the commitment to just keep going, to stay relentless, as you said. I think that's, man, it's powerful, bro. It's powerful. So I really, really mean it, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm proud of you, man. Like, for real. Like you been out here rocking and rolling for a nice little minute, man. I remember our first conversation. I was like, this dude is a beast. I was telling my lady about our very first conversation. I put that on everything I love. So, bro, and you still out here rocking and rolling. You linked up with Aaron Bevins and the superhuman wholesaler movement out there. Look, hey, salute to the superhuman wholesalers, y'all. Like I said, if y'all haven't listened to that Aaron Bevins podcast, make sure that y'all do that as well. Make sure that y'all hop on Facebook real quick if you're listening to this and join the superhuman wholesalers group. I really mean it when I say it. It's probably the most valuable wholesaling group on Facebook. I really mean that. It's so much value. Some of the heaviest hitting wholesalers in the nation are in that group. Like, posting checks and making calls. They literally calling y'all leads and stuff. Y'all, look, these dudes is not playing no games up in that superhuman wholesaling group, y'all. For real. So I highly recommend, if y'all listening to this, y'all hearing my voice, go join that group. You won't regret it. I promise you. You'll see guys like Toby up in there, Aaron, other people all across the nation that's out here getting deals, many of which have been onto the podcast, and y'all probably heard their testimonies. Now y'all can actually link up with these people and start trying to do deals and things of that nature. So speaking of linking up with these people, bro, how can people find you online? Like, if they wanted to just link up with you, ask you a few questions, pick your brain or something like that.
Pretty much, like I said, I literally have, I got a little more than 80 now just because I've joined the superhuman group. But
channel about to blow up, page about to go
But the best way is just to hop on the superhuman group. I'm on there like all day. Like, we've got different little like subgroups and chats and stuff like that. We got virtual offices and cold calling and all sorts of stuff and training and all sorts of crazy things going on, and lives are literally being changed. But that's probably the best way to get at me. I'm like always in the group. So
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So look, y'all, that's even more of an incentive now y'all gotta go over to the superhuman wholesalers group. Go ahead and join that, man. I promise y'all won't regret it, for real. It's a lot of value up in there. I really, really mean it. I'm a part of the group myself. I don't frequent in there too much, but I probably will, though. Like, over this, after I drop the podcast, I'll probably be in there just to, greet y'all when y'all make it there. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, though, man. Hey, bro. Once again, I appreciate you coming on, bro. Man, I'm proud of you, bro. Keep rocking and rolling out here, my brother. For real, man. You're an inspiration to me since day one, bro. I really, really mean that. So I like to surround myself with other people that's out here winning. You one of those people, bro. For real. I be telling other people, like, look. Anybody can get out here and win. We just got to be willing to work hard for it. I appreciate the gems that you dropped on this session.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Much love.
Well, yeah.
I appreciate you.
Hey, same here, bro. So I think that's about it, guys. We are going to go ahead and wrap this up. And until next time, podcast listeners, we are out. Hey. Bang, bang.
All right, my guy.